Hey guys, name's Nekusari, and today I'm gonna share my point of view on a video made by Gaming Roof about what would happen if Hypersonic and Starfall Sonic or Supersonic 2 were going head to head. For the most part, I really enjoyed the video, but I feel like there were a few things, in my opinion, that was wrong. And before you say no, I'm not saying everything was wrong, but I'm just gonna try to point out the things that I felt were probably untrue. And if you Game Riff, if you are watching, please, I apologize. I mean no disrespect. I just want to share my point of view on what was seen. Anyway, getting that out the way, let's get started. First, for the most part, I will say I agree with everything in the beginning of that video that he said about how Hypersonic would definitely lose to Supersonic 2, but I feel like what he said here was definitely an issue.
Hypersonic was stated to be Sonic's most powerful transformation. Yeah, there's just one problem with that. Quite a lot of transformations that Sonic has are implied to be his strongest state. Ironically enough, Supersonic, which was the transformation inferior to Hypersonic, also has such statements. The strongest Sonic, whose potential is brought out by the power of the Chaos Emerald, the strongest and fastest character.
Yeah, that is true, but I think it's true in the sense that Sega, at that time, no longer wanted Hyper to be Sonic's strongest form and got rid of it. So Supersonic at that time, and for the time being, is now Sonic's most powerful form since Hypersonic is no longer accessible. And the next form you try to use to give this example off was Excalibur Sonic from Sonic and the Black Knight.
Another transformation that got this treatment was Excalibur Sonic. In Japanese material, it was stated that Excalibur Sonic was indeed Sonic's final form.
I think the issue here is that the biggest issue is definitely saying that it was Sonic's final form, not Sonic's strongest form. I think the issue here is that people confuse final and strongest as like the same thing, but truthfully they're not. Like, for example, Goku's final form technically was blue at the time, but it wasn't his strongest form. What was his strongest form was when he had Super Saiyan Blue added with Kaioken. You see what I'm trying to say here? I hope it makes sense, and I hope it equivalates. Maybe not, but I hope that it made sense in some way, shape, or form. Also, you keep in mind that just because something said it was final doesn't always mean it was final, because people say this is my final form, and then we'll come up with a new form. So it also comes with the trouble with that. Next, I want to talk about how he does a multiplier for Hypersonic from base form, and I feel like that part is a definite issue for me.
Now with Hypersonic, this is pretty easy, because each Super Emerald is equivalent to 7 Chaos Emeralds, and obviously Hypersonic is base Sonic using all 7 Super Emeralds in order to transform. 1 Super Emerald is therefore equal to Supersonic, and Hyper uses all 7 Super Emeralds, meaning that Hypersonic is 7 times above Supersonic in stats.
Yeah, I feel like that's really problematic, considering that Hypersonic is basically equivalent of Sonic having 49 Chaos Emeralds, since 1 Super Emerald is equivalent to 1 full set of Chaos Emeralds. And I get the math should be there, since 7 times 7 equals 49, but I feel like the fact that Hypersonic is made of Super Emeralds should make it way more powerful, like maybe a 14 times multiplier, maybe. Or maybe 49. Okay, 49 is a stretch, but I feel like 14 should give it an edge over it. But that part I will not back up 100%. And also, I want to talk about the whole Sonic being a 10 times Supersonic 2 being a 10 times multiplier. I get him saying that there is no math, so I can't really argue much on that point. So there's nothing really much to say. But I feel like, in that sense, it should probably be maybe a 5 times multiplier, I think. But you use and I know you said you hated using gameplay, and that was the only thing you could use, but I feel like it should be a 5 times multiplier and not a 10. But like I said, I can't really argue over that much, so I'm gonna let that part slide. But yeah, the next part I have an issue with, and I think is the biggest gripe for me for this video, was when he said this:
And this 10 times amplifier makes sense, since Supersonic is now utilizing the full power of the emeralds, something that Sonic was previously incapable of doing. And I'd like to point out, if Supersonic was incapable of accessing the full power of the emeralds over 30 years later, he definitely was incapable of harnessing the full power of the super emeralds also. It wouldn't make sense for Sonic to be better with the super emeralds despite using them once than he is with the chaos emeralds, which he has used for decades.
I feel like this part of the argument is the most invalid because we're comparing two forms, Hypersonic versus Supersonic 2, and while Sonic is basically having control in Supersonic 2 way more than Hypersonic, we gotta keep in mind that control over a transformation doesn't equal that they're going to be more powerful. And one example would be Broly versus Goku, Vegeta, and Frieza. He was more powerful than all three of them who had mastery over their forms while he had little to no control over his. But like I said in the beginning of this video, I agree with what you said. If we took a modern take, not a modern take, but a classic take on who would win comparing the two, Supersonic 2 would definitely win over Hypersonic. But taking into account that we're doing a modern take where we're giving Sonic all these feats, Hypersonic all the feats that modern Sonic has, I feel like Hypersonic should take the win in this case, considering that Hypersonic is made of 7 Super Emeralds, which equivalent to 49 Chaos Emeralds, while Supersonic 2 is basically just 7 Chaos Emeralds, and Sonic has more control over it. Plus the cyber corruption that he had before. But like I said, I'm just sharing my point of view. Who knows? We're bending the realities of things just to put Hypersonic in the present, so who knows who could win. Anyway, I hope y'all really enjoyed this video, and again, Riff, if you do see this, I don't mean no harm for what I said, I just wanted to share my point of view. Anyway, I hope y'all really enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and share your point of view. With that being said, I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye!